The first time was a joke, a dare, some late-night stupidity fueled by boredom and bad decisions. But the last time, that was different. The last time was when everything fell apart. I want to tell you about that night. The night I lost myself, my family, my future. I don't know why I kept coming back to Duster. Maybe it was the cheap high, the way it made the world go distant, like a dream just before waking. Maybe it was the sheer recklessness of it. Legal, easy to get, and deadly. Maybe I thought I was invincible, but I wasn't. That night started like a dozen others. Bored and restless, I hit up the electronics store, grabbed a 4-pack of perfect Duster and headed home. I told myself it was just for a couple of hits, just enough for the rush. That brief, euphoric moment when your body tingles, your ears fill with that weird helicopter thrum, and your voice drops like you're speaking from inside a cave. But we both know how this story goes. One hit turned into two, two into 10. By the time I was halfway through the second can, I was slipping in and out of consciousness, coming to just long enough to reach for another. The high wasn't even enjoyable anymore, just a compulsion. Something I did because I didn't know how to stop. And then I did something even dumber. I tipped the can wrong. The liquid sprayed onto my tongue, and for a second, it felt like I'd shoved an icicle straight into my mouth. My tongue went numb, then it started to burn. When I looked in the mirror later, the underside was white and blistered, like I'd scalded it with boiling water. I didn't care. I just kept huffing. At some point, my body had enough. The nausea hit like a freight train. I barely made it to the corner of my room before I started vomiting, violently, uncontrollably. It splattered across my chair, my floor, my sheets, and I just sat there in it, can in hand, taking another hit between dry heaves. It wasn't until the next morning, when I woke up shaking and soaked in sweat, that the smell hit me. Stale bile, chemical bitterness, and something else, something rotten. I cleaned up with a spatula. Let that sink in. I had to scrape half-digested nachos off the carpet, gagging the whole time. Then I vacuumed. Then I steamed the rug. Then I brushed my teeth 3 times. But the taste still wouldn't go away. I still felt sick. Still felt the echoes of that toxic numbness running through my veins. I thought that was my rock bottom. I thought I'd finally hit the point where I could walk away. I was wrong. The next day, the cravings hit me like a fist to the gut. It didn't make sense. Why would I want something that made me so sick? But that's the thing about Duster. It doesn't care about logic. It just pulls you back in. So I got more. I remember the way the world stretched and distorted with every hit. Time slowed to a crawl. My thoughts came in frames, like a broken film reel. Click, click, click. Pausing too long between moments. My hands felt foreign, like they weren't even mine. And then the fear set in. Something was wrong. I could feel my heart hammering against my ribs, too fast, too strong, like it was trying to escape. I gasped for breath, but my lungs felt frozen, stuck. The room twisted around me, shadows stretching in the corners, shifting into shapes that shouldn't be there. I blinked, and suddenly, I wasn't in my room anymore. I was nowhere, just an empty black void. I could hear my own heartbeat echoing around me, a deafening rhythmic thud, and then something darker, something deeper, whispering just beyond the edge of my perception. I thought I was dead. I tried to move, but my limbs wouldn't respond. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My mind unraveled, logic slipping away. I was floating in some infinite nothingness, counting down to the moment where I'd stop existing entirely. And then, like snapping awake from a nightmare, I was back. The room spun around me. I was on the floor. My body tingled, half paralyzed. My lips felt cracked, raw from the bitter ant coating the can. I groaned and rolled onto my side, nausea threatening to spill over again. And that's when I lost my family. My mom found me first. She must have heard the can hissing through my locked door, because she started pounding on it, screaming my name. I tried to answer, but my tongue was still half frozen, my words slurred and stupid. By the time I got up to open the door, I collapsed, blacked out. When I came to, my dad was standing over me, the look on his face. Jesus, it was like I was already dead. I don't remember what I said to him. I remember him shaking his head, stepping over me like I was nothing. And I remember my mom crying in the kitchen, telling me I had to leave, that they couldn't do this anymore, that I wasn't their son anymore. I didn't argue. What could I say? They were right. I slept in my car that night. The cold seeped into my bones, but I barely noticed. I kept thinking about that last hit, that black void, that whispering in the dark. I wondered if next time I wouldn't come back. Over the next few weeks, I started seeing things, flashes of shadows, movement in my peripheral vision. Maybe it was paranoia. Maybe it was my brain trying to heal from all the damage. Or maybe I'd opened a door I wasn't supposed to. Either way, I knew I couldn't keep going. That was the last time I touched Duster. Not because I suddenly got smart. Not because I cared about my brain cells or my lungs or my heart. No, I stopped because I had nowhere left to go. Because I sat alone in my car that night, staring at a half-empty can, and realized that this stupid little habit had cost me everything. I never got my parents back. They made sure of that, but I got clean, and I stayed clean. And now I'm here, writing this, hoping that maybe, just maybe, someone else will read it and decide not to make the same mistakes. Duster isn't worth it. It's not fun. It's not cool. It doesn't make you some kind of badass. It just makes you a ghost in your own life. And one day, if you're lucky, you wake up and realize you're haunting your own past. If you're not lucky, well, let's just say I've been to enough funerals to know how that story ends. The first time I huffed Duster, I thought it was just another way to get high. A quick head rush, a cheap thrill, nothing more. I was wrong. It started with curiosity. Someone at school mentioned it, how easy it was to buy, how fast it hit. No dealers, no sketchy alleyways, just a trip to the store and a few bucks. So I tried it. One inhale, then two. The world blurred, my body floated, and for a few perfect seconds, everything disappeared. Then I woke up on the floor, my body twitching, my head pounding, my arm bleeding from where I had smashed into the table on the way down. I should have stopped it. I should have taken it as a warning. But addiction doesn't work like that. It digs in quietly, patiently, waiting for the next time. And there was always a next time. At first, I was careful. I only did it alone. Late at night, when no one could hear the hiss of the can, I'd wake up feeling like my brain had been scraped out, my lungs scorched raw. But I'd tell myself it was fine. It wasn't heroin. It wasn't meth. It was just air. But Duster is a liar. It makes promises it never keeps. It whispers that one more hit won't hurt, that you're still in control. I started using during the day, hiding it in my backpack, sneaking hits in the school bathroom. I told myself I was just having fun. My slipping grades, my sudden mood swings, the way my hands wouldn't stop shaking. None of it mattered as long as I could keep chasing that high. Then I got sloppy. My mom found a can under my bed. I told her it wasn't mine. I lied so easily it scared me, but she believed me. Or maybe she just wanted to. The first time I stole for it, it was just a couple of dollars from my dad's wallet. Then it was more. I started pocketing cans from stores, walking out with them tucked under my jacket. I told myself it wasn't real stealing, just air, just something nobody would miss. But people did miss it. My friends noticed first. They stopped inviting me places, said I was too unpredictable, too reckless. I shrugged it off. I had Duster, who needed them. Then came the night my mom found me on the floor, 3 empty cans beside me. I don't remember her screaming, but I remember the look on her face. Pure horror, like she was staring at a ghost. My dad punched the wall so hard it left a dent. My little sister stood in the doorway, wide-eyed, silent. Rehab didn't work. Therapy didn't work. Locking up my room, taking away my money, watching me like a hawk. None of it stopped me. Addiction had its claws too deep. I found new hiding spots. I got better at lying. I got better at hurting the people who loved me. Then, one night, my body gave up. I was alone, inhaling over and over, chasing that floating numbness, when suddenly my chest locked. My lungs refused to work. Darkness crept in at the edges of my vision, and I realized this was it. I was dying. And the sickest part? Some twisted part of me didn't care, but my body fought. Somehow, I survived. When I came to, gasping and drenched in sweat, I knew I was done. Not because I wanted to be, not because I had some revelation about life, but because I couldn't keep pretending I was invincible. My body had reached its limit. Years later, the damage is still there. My memory is wrecked. My lungs burn when it's cold. My family still flinches when they hear an aerosol can. My sister barely speaks to me. And some nights, when everything is too quiet, I still hear Duster calling my name.